welcome back to the old world of Oz. It's one of your hosts, ASB, and I am once again joined by my lovely bald and semi-bald co-hosts, or follically challenged as we like to call ourselves. Starkey, how are you?
How are you, mate? Yeah, nice. Yeah, good to see you, mate.
You too, mate. And of course, we've got Gomo on his most important podcast.
That's right, mate. How's it going? Nice that we're here. Sound like ASB almost didn't make it with some had some emergencies there, but it's all good now.
Yeah. 14-month-olds and bath time can be dangerous. The hardest part is like she's just a million miles an hour, and she like you get her to sit down, she stands up. You get her to sit down, she stands up. Sit down, stand up. Like,
I can't believe you look so awake, but I guess after that you probably are. So
yeah. So I guess just to introduce tonight's episode, guys, we've got, I guess, two. I mean, the main two things, obviously, that this particular podcast talks about is the Masters rankings, and of course the website that Gomo's built for us, and then he's taken it global. He's almost outgrown us, I think, actually.
Never.
It's always that they're always like Gomo's or Old World Fanatics website, but they always forget that it's actually it started here in this Doug trio. But we're the silent partners, of course. But yeah, so we're here to talk about that. So obviously the new updates to the rankings website that Gomo just continually blows our minds with, and it probably takes him 30 seconds, I reckon, for things that continue to blow our minds. We'll be talking about the WTC. We do have a sad update actually on WTC, guys. I've had two guys pull out. We're not going to be able to get a team together this year for Australia. So any overseas listeners, you only have to worry about Poland now. Obviously with our reputation in some fantasy events, and yeah, we just couldn't get a team together. We'd already decided we weren't going to send a physical team. We were going to send a team not Australia, because you're not actually allowed to call them by their country name. But unfortunately, we had a couple of guys pull out, and so I've just emailed the guys this evening to let them know that the team won't be going ahead. But we will look to build now for next year, and yeah, hopefully, be able to send a team. Obviously, cost of living is a challenge in Australia. Can't see them ever hosting the WTC in Australia, although it would be cool for us to be able to do that. It doesn't really make sense, I think, for the rest of the world to travel here. We're just unfortunately victims of our geography, just like we are with models.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's probably the first update. That kind of closes that chapter, to be honest, which means that the national committee, of course, can now actually focus on Masters, which is cool, and continuing to improve the ranking website through our vessel, of course, being Gomo. So yeah, that's kind of the update. Should we just get straight into it, guys? Anything you want to cover? Anything you want to add?
No, not really. I mean, we can look at some of the changes and where the rankings and where people are moving. But did you want to cover those Masters sort of?
Should we hold? I reckon we should hold
things. Yeah, you want to hold that at the end? Okay,
That's
cool.
good,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you've got obviously done a lot of work there, organising dates, all this sort of stuff. So that's really good. It's good that that's starting to take focus. And like you said, probably, unfortunately, was a bit of a distraction there for a little bit with trying to wrangle all that WTC stuff. But at least that's done and dusted. And yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is. Can't do much about it.
Yeah, I think it's just hopefully next year gives more people more time.
Just wasn't enough time really for us guys that are so far away.
We can't just go to Croatia on the
just on the whim.
Yeah, I mean, it only feels like everyone started sorting through, this sort of competitive ranking-y type thing probably. Well, when did you reach out? It was probably like October, November last year. October maybe, was it?
Yes, yeah, maybe October. To start, what happened was Stark and I were talking about this in like February last year.
Yeah.
Went quiet on it, and he all of a sudden just sends me. He just tapped me on the shoulder. I was like, "Mate, here's an Excel file I've begun." I was like, "All right, I'm keen. Let's get into this." And that's when I was like, "Hold on a second. I think we can create. I reckon we can make this pretty special." And that's when I tapped you on the shoulder. And
Excel's way too hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I was going to say my favorite feature is the win rate. I reckon that's really cool. You can see
okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm only just seeing it now. I've been perusing over it.
There's been a few changes over since last month, probably. I can't remember. I can't remember what we were on.
I usually look on my phone and it's
those little indicators weren't there last month. I can't remember.
No, they weren't.
Okay, cool. Well, do you want to run through any specifics on the actual Australian rankings first, or did you want to?
So the first one I actually want to call out. I want to call out the unluckiest player in the country. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Simon Kwok, or Kwocky, as I believe he's known. I hope he's as smiley and cuddly as the Quokka, as he's probably named after. Just don't let any French tourists near him. But he won an event and he actually went down 4 places.
Oh wow!
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I think he was. So he was, because I dropped from 2nd to 3rd, then to 6th. He was 5th.
It might be. No, that's right.
Yeah. So he was 5th, and then he won an event. But on the same weekend, there was 2 other events. And instead of jumping up to with his win, should have jumped him up a place. He actually dropped down to 7th. There you go.
I thought you were going to talk about Kinney from however you say it, from South Australia.
That's who I thought he was talking about.
No. He's probably the. I mean, yeah, he probably. Okay, let's be real. He was the unluckiest player, and he probably still is. To the podium, the amount of times that he has, but yeah.
Maybe he has to do a Warbands tournament, 5 games in one day. Maybe he should do that.
I have suggested that to the other boys. The other is so you play. You do a 6-game event, and you do it over 2 separate weekends, a month apart.
Oh yeah.
If you can get everyone to come back the next.
Yeah, that's the challenge. You've got to get 2 weekends free. But I think there is. I've chatted to the guys down there about some of their. I'm pretty invested in that scene because it is obviously on the cards to move back there. But also because I think it's where I grew up and where I played, all through the noughties. And so, yeah, I feel like it's kind of a duty to try and help as much as I can. So, it's just some of the feedback around, getting events scheduled, but more than 3 to 6 months out, stuff like that, just so people have plenty of time with a smaller player base. They need more time to be able to get, the time off. And I genuinely believe there's no reason that South Australia can't get back to, when I was playing in the noughties. I remember my first tournament, second tournament. My first tournament was actually a convict. No, not convict. Sorry, CAD. Do you remember Conflict? Do you remember GW had those the grand tournaments? And then they GW ran this series called Conflict, and it was meant to be for beginners, so people that had never attended a tournament before. And it was 1,000 points, 3 games. And then they also ran GTs at the same venue for people that were more experienced. And so I entered Conflict in like 2005. I don't think I was a GW staff member yet. I think I must have been like 14. And I was just hooked. There was like 50 players. I think I came 7th, and I found out after that I would have won all 3 games. But it was this guy told me that his Ogre Iron Guts were weapon skill 4. They're only weapon skill 3. So my Knights of the Realm were hitting them on 4s instead of 3s. And I went to combat by 1, and then got outnumbered and auto broke by a Fear Causer. whereas I should have stomped.
Gotta love 6.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll after that. And the first proper tournament I went to was a tournament called SA Con. It was a GT 5 game. Actually, there might have been 6 games actually. And it was this would have been 2004 or 2005. And there was 12 players, and by 2009 we were getting 40 to 44 players.
Yeah,
at both 1 and 2 days. So there's no reason that can't happen again. But I think the difference was our scene became super organized, and you knew there was 7 tournaments a year basically, and you knew what month they were. They were on weekend, and that way you almost knew, and you'd be talking about, what do you play? And the cool thing is every single one of those events, different points limit with different things. And so, I think that stuff. It's like Starkey, I know that your events are 6. Like, there's one in June, there's one in January, there's one in October. You do it every year.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, the way tabletop. I mean, we talked about this probably a lot, and everyone does. But like, tabletop gaming has gone through the roof since fantasy died. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, people playing 40k and all that. And so you see Old World, even though it's like obviously right down the bottom in terms of popularity, it's going to catch that wave, and you can see it. Like, I mean, you see it here with even just. I was trying to put together a tournament. And I'm just like, it's no use. Might as well just wait, because there is just too much. It's too many weekends full of games. So which is really good.
That's awesome.
But once at this point, I'm like, well, we're gonna look at BIV or something early, like the beginning of the first half next year. Do you know what I mean? Just because it's just too hard to squeeze in and try to get in early. Which is really good, because I don't know. Like,
I've just started my recruitment on a new dad at school, so he came over on Friday. Showed him a game. Yeah, you just got to tell people you love wargaming.
Telling about.
It's a new one.
Get someone else in. Another one again.
I got another one.
You need to write like a guide to how to convert people into
we can put it on the website.
Well, when we're just flipping sausages at the school events, just tell them that you're into war games. Just start them easy. And then I invite them around for barbecues and stuff, and then they see all the models, and that's a good start. Yeah.
You show them the bill. Show them how much it costs.
No, don't tell them that bit.
You probably just print them an army. Or I mean, he's got every army.
Oh, well, the first badge just bought a 3D printer straight up. He was in balls deep straight away.
I think it's interesting. I think it's become more socially acceptable to be a nerd these days than it was 20 years.
Oh, 100%. I see my daughter, like my oldest now is out of school, but and the younger's fine, like she's 16, it's the same. But a couple of years back, especially during COVID, like they were all like playing, I don't know what games, like Valorant and all this sort of stuff. And at that point, they're like 15-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, and they're playing all these, shoot 'em up games with all the guys just talking on Discord the whole time. And like, if I was a nerd, I was a nerd at school, but you couldn't do that. Like, it was like, how good would it be to be like always like a guy nerd now in school? They're actually all into it. It's like, wow.
I was a bit of a paradox. See, I was a bit of a paradox. So I played like state rugby union. I played cricket, like not a massively high level, but high enough. So I was a bit of I was like a closet nerd, and I played Warhammer.
You're a mixer.
I used to tell I'd miss out on a game of cricket or rugby, and they're like, I was just away. Yeah, I was just away.
You didn't tell anyone.
Yeah. And like I used to catch if I caught the bus in the school holidays to Games Workshop, I used to carry my cases with the Games Workshop sign facing inward in case any girls that I knew saw me.
I swear these are all tips that I've heard.
I didn't want to get
checking parties,
and then think I wasn't cool. I used to invert the old Games Workshop sign on the case. Probably thinking like, this weirdo carrying around a briefcase, like.
I tell anyone that'll listen. That's probably why I'm able to recruit people. Yeah.
I do now. I couldn't care less now, but Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. High school's a delicate, delicate place.
It is. Hey, I should actually call out Solar Warden and Entropy 2100 who were on the chat when we kicked off, but I don't know if they're still there. So if they are, thanks for listening. Just if you've got
I
any
didn't actually realize
questions
we were
for us.
live.
Yeah, there's a comment up there. Yeah, we're live. So we're a bit unorganized, guys. Sorry, but that's all good.
Do we want to put a link into the for now. I'm just putting a link into a couple of Facebook groups.
Yep. Hey, Entropy 2100's there. Do you... I can never remember who anyone is. So, that's
let me just find my go to YouTube, and I'll just get.
You're going to whack some links to the what?
Yeah, I'm just going to share. I'm just going to harass everyone's.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should have told you that. Yeah, I see, just to get people on. Yeah, we're really prepared here, and I only just scheduled it like 10 minutes ago before it started too. It's just the life. Anyway, while you're doing that, do you want me to run through anything here, or do you want to run through the?
Yeah, man, let's do it. What have you added? Tell
yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna have to remind me where it was at, because I obviously get a bit.
Run through the new meta section.
Yeah, so obviously we've got so now under the covers we're tracking like people's monthly and weekly changes in their rankings, and that's how we're able to calculate that little up and down thing, which I thought was cool. I know you guys wanted that right at the early days, but just how I did it, I couldn't do that. So now that that's hooked in, and on top of it underneath, there was a fair bit of changes around making it like so you could have multiple rankings around the world, and that's making way to do a global rank, which I wanted to do, but obviously now, there's another Excel sheet out there from Adam Slutsky that does their ranking one, which is pretty similar to this, to be honest. So I had a chat with him.
It's just not accurate.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have as much as this, that's for sure. Yeah, it doesn't have all. It
very upset.
Yeah. You didn't have
very upset. That's missing three of my 5 events.
Is it? It's so common. I mean, I think it's
380.
I couldn't even find myself. So
one of the other ones that do the meta reports, like they tell you they've got their sheet, and I have a look at it, and they're missing so many tournaments as well. I mean, it's just pretty common when you're doing it manual. It's it's obviously pretty hard. Yeah.
So
anyway, I did that. So as a result, that gave me a kick up the butt to start trying to get more of the meta in, which we've always wanted to do, but it's just there's a little bit of work under the covers to do it. So that's all done now. So now I can start pulling that in. So as a result, I ended up pulling in, one of the things you'll see too is there's the online region. So all the online, most of that's from like new recruit comes over as well. And then that's all joining up now. So, working on a algorithm for an online full ranking across everyone. But I mean, I'm sort of up in the like open to suggestions, what people want to see there. But that's something that we can look at later, but that'll pop up as well. But as a result, though, because it's now sort of global, we've got this meta section. So that's going to have your top lists in it, pulled across all the, the ones. Now, I don't pull lists from like BCP and stuff, so they have to be submitted. But they do come through from new recruit and stuff. So people do submit. You can submit lists. You should submit lists. You should get your mates to submit lists. You can go in wherever you see there's little icons around the tournament results. So if you go look at latest results, you see these little yellow icons. You can click them and you can send us the list. So I think that's, again, just a shout out to people. If you've got people's lists or tournament lists, whack them in there. But at the end of the day, they come in and you can search from, like all the factions. Points will come. I'll talk about that in a minute. Over sort of time in case you just want to get the recent ones. Because obviously if you go too far back, the meta's changed. I'm going to talk about something that's coming for that as well. Different size events and regions, and then culling out online tournaments if you don't want to get the ridiculous online list that some people can play online but would probably never play in real life. But we're sitting at nearly 2,100 lists in there, so there is a pretty good. If you're after some inspiration, you can jump in there and have a look at the lists. And then we've got global faction stats. So this is probably the biggest worldwide stats, I'd imagine, of all world at the moment, because it's pulled from a lot more places. So it has, and then you can filter down factions again, events, regions, cull out the online, like, and obviously split in or out the what are they called? The arcane journals, like the sub factions, if you want to see the totals there. So, and it's all pretty much updated live, 26th March, 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Time. So about half an hour ago that it updated. So, and yeah, we also added Longshanks imports. So we're covering like 3 of the major tournament platforms as much as we can, plus imports, because people send us Excel sheets and stuff and they go in there as well. So it's pretty comprehensive. And growing, which is cool.
Is there many old world events in 20 Keeper?
Not many. I had a look and it's almost fallen apart, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started looking. Yeah. That one, and just how it's written too, you can't even really, it's hard to pull them out unless it's just manual, which you can do. So we can, if there's a few in there, we can pull them in. But I think I've done one before and that was manual.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It had its time, Tiny Keeper. It was good for a bit. But
yeah.
The
other big one's T3, which I'll probably end up doing. I mean, it's European, but I might pull some of them in as well. We'll just see how we go. It appears, though, T3 give you the ranks, which is great for ranking and stuff, but it won't be as good for faction. It doesn't sort of give you your win-loss rates and stuff. It just sort of shows people's like ranking in that tournament result. Like first or whatever, which is fine for rankings, sort of, but not for some of these meta stats, so to speak. So it's a bit of, I'm like, don't want to waste that. I don't know. But yeah, it's cool. And then, like I just said, one thing I actually am working on, which I think will make the lists and the faction stats really cool, is the improving how this little time thing. Basically, what I'm adding in is versions. So basically the game version. So you'll have like the FAQ release dates, the Arcane Journal dates, things like that. And then you'll be able to like filter or like, so you can basically say, I just want to look at lists after FAQ 1.2, for example, like that. Just because, these things change stuff. You know what I mean? Like, obviously Wood Elves got nerfed. Yeah. So I thought that would be pretty cool. I don't know. I think that, like, especially for meta stats.
I never would have even thought to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's pretty. I think it'll be pretty cool for this stuff because you really get to see things change as the meta changes. So I thought that.
Yeah, it's not just yeah.
So that's probably one of the things coming, and then just I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what else, but there's probably a bunch. There's always, like I said, global rankings, and then
that's what I'm excited.
Actually, there is another cool. Can I tell you another thing I am going to do, which I think will be pretty cool? So when you're looking for tournaments, right? We pull them in, and that's all cool. But at the end of the day, when you click on a tournament here that's upcoming, we don't really have any information about it because it hasn't finished, and you got to go to the website and all that stuff. What I've been building, and it's sort of, I can't release it yet, but it's getting there, is basically scraping and pulling down the player packs automatically with AI and then outputting everything I can in a really nice visual on every tournament page. So just to make this the best place to go and look at information, right down to, can you buy a beer at this tournament? Will come up here. So you can search for, can I buy alcohol at this tournament? Can I whatever. And it's got and if it's even got it'll even automatically pull in like specific rulings. So if you can look at it and go, oh, they're actually playing, I don't know. What's an example? They're playing TMP as within 12 inches in this one. So like you'll see it here.
They're making, what's it called? Not get stomps. Earth ramparts.
Yeah, that type of thing. So any of those little rulings, there'll be a section on that. Like it's really, it's actually pretty cool. It's gonna
the renegade. The renegade.
Well, the renegade. Yeah, exactly. Is that exempted in that tournament?
2v1 here.
So so I think hopefully people will find that pretty interesting when it comes out, because especially if you can search on some of that, but just also make it, hopefully I want to make this a good place for people to bookmark, come in, have a look. Yeah, I want to go to that tournament because X, Y, Z. And that's how I'll pull the points out too, because it's actually quite hard to get the points of a tournament without actually going in and looking at the players pack, or if they've put it in in the description in BCP or like, it's actually not innately in there. So yeah. Yeah, so not too bad.
Nice.
Anyway,
nice.
so there's lots coming, but yeah. And any ideas? Obviously, hit the little chat and let us know, and we'll see.
I've got an idea. What about a content creator tab where you could see regions, the content creators from your region, or probably don't need region unless they speak a different language. You could do like English.
Well, yeah, that you mean like the YouTube channels and stuff?
Yeah, YouTube channels.
Yeah, so basically that's actually in the players' profiles at the moment. I just don't have it on because I haven't built the editing side for that. So yeah, that's supposed to show up when you go look at your player profile, and you'll see if you've got a YouTube channel and stuff. So I will try and get that done as well because that's sort of half built and I just sort of didn't get back to it. So I'll get to that. It's basically like the achievement section almost, like you've.
Oh, see, I'm saying have an actual tab where it's got content. It's got, so you can go and look at it like competitive or whatever it is, and it just has every single content creator it's a one-stop shop and they can all go and look at it. It'll drive traffic to this because maybe they can then, in order to get it on there, they have to put our like the YouTube channel for us and this website into their show notes and vice versa. So it drives traffic to each other.
Gotcha. I think I see what you mean. Yeah, well, I'll have a look. Yeah. So like we just
Captain Keith Cornholio doesn't even have it on his profile. Creepy Wargamers. Creepy gamers.
It doesn't display at the moment if you've got like YouTube links and stuff. So I gotta put that in. It's in the background there. But
do you know what's funny is I had heard about Keith and being him being the Aussie battler in Creaky Gamers, and then I went and watched one of his videos and I was like, oh my god, it's Keith Von Keith from Warhammer EU.
Keith Von
Keith. That was his name on Wargammer EU, was Keith Von Keith.
I cannot remember that. God.
Yeah, he used to do these battle reports, right? And because all of his characters are named Keith, so he's got
Keith,
it's so funny. I know he's got Keith, like especially these Egyptian ones. Are cool.
Von Keith.
And his vampire lord is Von Keith. Keith Von Keith was his name on Wargammer EU, and he used to do this full write-up in the general discussion.
He's been doing it for years. I mean, his YouTube channel's got heaps of, he just cranks it out. So good.
It's great.
Yeah, but I want to promote them for sure here, like this is the thing. Like I know, like we've been focusing on the competitive side here and it's getting pretty close. Like I said, you put some global rankings, a few more factions, stuff like that. But the rest of it's going to be hobby, like those tournament things, fun stuff. And I've said to Starkey, like image uploads of your armies against your army lists and your factions. So you can go look at ASB's army and stuff like that. Just things like that where just try to promote the hobby as well as the next sort of step.
Yeah.
So
I'm so close. I should, not for full con in 2 weeks, but I should actually have my 2K list finally fully painted. Like when I say fully painted, it's base, it's battle ready, but I should actually have it properly finished by the end of April, which is cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
just 1 year, mate. Just only took 1 year.
9 months.
9 months.
It's pretty good, though, really. Yeah.
I try to paint to a pretty high standard.
I know you do.
And they're themed and stuff. It's good.
If I wasn't painting the white in the way that I was painting it, it would have been a lot quicker. But I've managed to halve the time now on the base coating of it. But it's having to do like two coats of Rakarth flesh is time consuming, just as the base coat. And having to do 2 coats again for every layer is time consuming on state troops. But I tell you, I'm definitely getting way better at painting faces after this. I had to paint a lot of faces. But should we just quickly maybe go through the top 20, sort of the movers and shakers? So,
right.
Do you want to start from the bottom, from 20th?
Oh yeah.
Let's go through who's dropped out and let's look at the top 30.
Okay. I can't really split. I can just do that. Yep.
All right. So that's right. We can start at 30. And so if you have a look here, guys, you'll see the top 30, and this will this will make more sense in a moment when we go through announcements for Masters. So you can see at the top 30. So there's a couple of people that have dropped out. Starkey, unfortunately, yourself, mate. You need to have a good result at Fullcon.
April's the month. That's it.
Yep. So currently starting at 30th, we've got Lee Callahan from WA, David Corcoran, he's one of the guys I think that ran CanCon this year.
Yeah, and I think he helps run a lot of the what are they called, the ones they do in ACT. I've been to one. I can't remember. Grudges, old Grudges or something.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We've got Gunay, the unlucky man with 5 first places, and he's sitting 28th because they're unfortunately smaller events in terms of rankings. John Ureta from New South Wales. Also, shout out for Gunay though, being the only South Australian because I'm obviously adopted.
By the look of it, is that right? There's no other SA above that, I don't think.
Yeah, only one in the top 30.
Yeah, my postcode changed.
That's because he's taking all the points.
Yeah.
Brian Schmidt at 26th. He dropped out. He was 16th a month ago. Dan Stark, unfortunately, mate, you have dropped out. Andrew, the highest ranked Old World fanatic.
Oh, he's down.
Yeah, he's dropped. I think he was 10th at one point. Cameron Bond from New South Wales. He's jumped up 96. Impressive.
Yeah, I think he's been in 2 tournaments lately, and he's got a pretty brutal chaos list. He smashed Andrew actually a couple of tournaments ago. So I think he's on his I think he jumped up quickly, because of that first couple of wins. This is the thing. If you've only done 3 tournaments and they're your first 3, you'll probably see a big jump, like Nick as well.
Yeah.
Hohen just above that is.
So Hohen's jumped 51 places into 22nd. And the last of the players currently sitting out of the top 20 and in Masters qualification is Nathan Goodchild from Queensland. But he's got a couple of events that he might be able to jump back up in. So,
he will.
It's going to be.
He's not playing in his own though, is he? He'd be.
Yeah, he is.
Is that right? Oh,
he will.
And he's got full con as well.
Yeah.
2 GTs.
That's going to help.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, anyone in the top 50 at this point can qualify. I think if you just you scroll down.
We just look at the points. Yeah, they're all very close. Yeah.
I think anyone really in that, if you're playing, anyone there can realistically jump in with 1 or 2 good results. So I guess that the main message there, guys, if you're wanting to go if you're wanting to play at the Masters, then that's all you have to do is get to a couple of events to get your invite. But let's have a look at the top 20. All right. So the double figures, guys. So we've got Matthew Kelly sitting in 20th from WA. We've got Richard Hill. He is sitting in 19th. Hawley Gooley is sitting in 18th. Wayne Russell, Queenslander. He came second at an event. Oh, so I should say did any of you guys play in any events recently?
No, not since January.
I played in a one-dayer at Irresistible Force and managed to get first, which was cool. Wayne came second at that event. So
shot him up 60 places.
Shot him up 60 places. Yeah.
Dan Holland's sitting 16th. He's got one more event, so if he does well at that, he might just cement his place. It is a GT as well. He is running it.
He's running Warriors, so yeah.
Running the plane. Kiri Gates, WA, shot up 64 places.
Yeah,
as well.
I don't know. He's playing over there with Mitch's crew, but I would assume, but done well. Yeah.
So Jason Robinson Kinson, WA, up there. Ben Leaper. Ben Leaper's a name that I know from back in the day.
Must have been over here in New South Wales or something, wasn't he? Because I knew him too.
Yeah. Not that I know him, but I know the name.
Yeah.
I know the name, but...
So then Mark Ward in 12th, down those last 3 guys have all dropped 2 places, but they're still in the top 20. Then we've got Keith on Keith himself, Creaky Gamers, sitting in. He's jumped up 2 places in 11th.
He got a first recently, so that's
yep.
not.
Yep, he did.
Yeah.
It was Tomb Kings, yeah.
Yep, the great.
I think it was
Keith.
Tomb Kings and not Mortuary Cult too. I think if I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was double drag, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Justin Lee, another Queenslander, has jumped 46 places. So interesting. Here's a fun fact. Because Justin didn't paint his army, I got first place. Otherwise, I would have got second and he would have got first. He didn't get the 8 painting points.
Yeah, right. Cool.
So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I may still have never won a best painted army, but I have won a tournament because of painting.
That was his 3rd tournament too, so that's why he shut up.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
3 podiums, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's actually
Great
got the
results.
highest.
Look at that. 77.8, 72.8, 70. Like, that's consistent. That's good.
He's got the highest win percentage in the top 20, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was actually gonna put that in there, and I didn't know. I can't remember what happened. But I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, so he's I think he's first. Some of the other guys second. I think I'm third on win percentage of games. He hasn't. I think he's lost 1 game or 1 draw from memory from his 12 tournament games so far. So Reece McGlynn,
88.9. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or maybe he's second, and there's a guy that's in 90. Reece McGlynn is sitting in 9th. Chris Penwarden, so another Victorian, in 8th. The Quokka, as I mentioned before. I hope he doesn't mind me actually making that joke. Please message me. Simon.
I love his nickname. He's far from a noob.
Yeah, true. So he's sitting in 7th, even though he won an event. He went down 2 places. Although I think he was 5th. Yeah. Ben Cray down 2 places as well. He is sitting in 6th though. I am sitting in 5th, up 1 place. And then we've got Jason Mulligan. He actually has more podiums than Cray. He's got I think the most podiums in the country. So he's got 5 first places, a 3rd and a 2nd with Chaos Wars.
He's probably putting the Chaos Dwarves win rate up. Yeah.
Single-handedly.
Yeah.
And impressively, Mark Hurwitz.
He's played High Elves and Ogres as well. So it's a little confusing because I only put the faction that you've
the ones that you've done yet. Yeah. Isn't it the top scores?
It's the ones that are the top 3 scores
3.
here. But I do put all the achievements because I thought that would be fun to see. That's why I see a lot of them. Yeah. I think just that's cool. Explaining that for people watching that. Yep.
So then we've got the current top 3 or the podium or pole positions. So Mark Hurwitz is the only player now, I think, in the top 20 without a podium. Am I correct?
Richard.
Yeah. Richard Hill as well. Okay. So there's
Richard.
Yeah, cool. 2 players that have not got a podium, but I think it's pretty impressive, not without taking anything away from Richard, for Mark to have been sitting in 3rd place. Yeah. So I think he gets I think he's got 4th in like 3 events, basically.
Yeah, something like that. And he's playing in a lot of 5
big
weekenders
events
as well. A lot of
CanCon, Moab, Castle Assault.
Now unfortunately his win rate's screwed there because I thought I took that out, but I have to check that because we didn't have the win loss for Castle.
Yeah.
So anyway, I might have to look at that if that's not right for him.
Those Oldhammer get a good number of people now.
Yeah, that's right.
Where are the Oldhammer? That's Sydney, isn't it?
Yeah, Western. Even just one day as about 40 people or 38, you get a good score. So,
you get 80 points first. Then we've got James Golding, or Jay Golding, as he goes by, in 2nd. And Paddy is still clinging on to first place. Her win rate's dropped off.
She smashed them early, and then she went to. She's playing around with some different like Chaos Dwarves and stuff. But the early ones,
she was stuffing around now.
Yeah,
she's just. So I started out stuffing around with Corn Demons at tournaments and whatever else that I hadn't played before.
Yeah.
Trying to take it a bit more serious now.
But look, it's a good cross section, to be honest. Apart from South Australia and obviously Tassie, just because I'm not sure what happens down there. I know
they've got a team event coming up.
Yeah, so they do have one, but you just don't see them here. So I'm not sure what's happening there, unless I've just missed some other tournaments.
Have you heard that somehow they managed to unknowingly schedule the only 2 teams events so there was one scheduled in Queensland that got cancelled, and then the only other 2 teams events so far are going to be on the same weekend. One in Melbourne.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. The Snake Eye one. Is that what you mean?
And the Tassie guys, the next day, they put theirs up, or the day before or something like that. So, yeah,
that's why I haven't got it either. So, I don't have I will have teams events coming up on here too, even though right now those results won't go into the rankings or anything, just because I haven't worked out fully what to do there or make it too configurable. But I think it will be good to at least have them up here and show that they're a teams event, just so people know.
Yeah.
That they can go to them.
So that probably leads us to our probably the main topic of the evening, which is Masters. So Masters is an institution. You probably, if you don't know what the Masters is, you've heard us talk about it enough. And I mean, you can see their Masters rankings. So if you haven't listened to any other episodes, or you've been living under a rock, or in Tasmania perhaps, Masters is it's basically the Australian title, the grand final effectively of Warhammer Fantasy. And so if you're crowned the Master, you're effectively the best player in Australia for that year. That's what you're playing for. So it is an invitation-only event. Only the top 20 players will be invited to said event. And they will get a chance to basically duke it out. There'll be, a couple of things that we're about to announce that will determine a few things there as to how it all takes shape. But that's effectively what the Masters is. It's kind of the idea is it's not like a normal tournament where you go and you might get 1 or 2 or even 3 games where you're not playing someone that's at a really, really high level. The idea is that every single game you are playing is someone else that is a regular podium player. There is no easy soft, there's not meant to be any easy soft wins or easy, games. It is meant to determine but I guess these days you have to say people from the people, don't you? Not the men from the boys. So that is what Masters is. So without further ado, is there anything you guys want to add before we do the
No, go for it. Yeah, give the announcement.
Go for it, mate.
Yep.
I've just got to find my Samsung notes. Well, there we go. Cool. All right, guys. So firstly, we can let you know when Masters will be held. Masters is going to be held on the final weekend of July. So obviously, the community voted, and the date selection chosen was for the season to end on the 30th of June each year. Now, we need time, obviously, one, to get the players' invitations out, for army lists to be created. I think the guys that are up there sort of, they'd be already thinking about it, but the format isn't necessarily decided yet either. All of those things need to take place. And that's why it will take place 4 weeks after the cutoff. It would be 6, but it does then start to eat into a couple of interstate events and some other 2 days and stuff. There's a 2-dayer in Queensland, there's a 2-dayer in Newcastle and that. And so, 4 weeks was the decided date. So that, just so that you're aware, people, if you are either live or you're watching this, that will be on July the 26th and 27th will be Masters. So that's July 26th, 27th.
We should get that up on here as a tournament as well, shouldn't I?
I'm going to create
now that we know.
Yeah, I'm going to create an event tomorrow. So there will be an event up with the sort of initial details, just so people can start looking at it. Now, I ummed and ahed and really did, you guys are both part of the national committee. I was very big on as you know, I'm very big on a democracy and people voting, but I was given the advice to just pick a venue and pick a state. I only know Queensland venues. As a result, guys, I have picked a cheap venue. I want to specify that as well, because I think it's, and again, it's going to be the player's choice with the format. I think when you sort of, it's kind of this is the championship, effectively. I don't know if anyone cares about cash prizes. They're coming to win the Masters, or at least podium. So I think we're try and make it as cheap as possible and probably include lunch. But I think outside of that, we can keep this event to I think it's going to work out to like $20 or $25 per person, which means that if they're having to travel to play, then I want to try and keep it as cheap as possible. We'll probably get Starkey with his 3D printer to print some trophies. I was actually thinking in first place getting a crown. I thought that might be cool. Or maybe a crown and a scepter, in the shape of a hammer, something like that. But yeah, so that is basically what we're doing. We're going to be running it in Brisbane this year. What happens after that will be determined at a later date. But this year it will be in Brisbane at Irresistible Force. Now, there is also another reason why I selected that particular venue. I don't believe it was the place where the very first one was held. I think that was in Sydney. However, the organisers of it owned Irresistible Force, and they originally started it through Irresistible Force. So there is a little bit of history there. That was back in 6th edition. But Kendall Williams, who runs Castle Soul, actually won that with Empire, ironically. So I'm trying to do my mission here for myself is to try and go, well, Kendall won the first, the inaugural Warhammer Fantasy with Empire. Can I go and do it with Old World? I'll see. But just on that, guys, I should mention that I will not be taking part in any of the formal organisation. I don't think I'm not going to qualify at this point, but you never know, it could happen. But I am going to basically get a couple of the committee are going to so proxies, referees that will referee the event. And then there will also be, I won't be taking part in any of the scenario selection, design, scoring systems or anything like that, because I don't think that's fair. In fact, no one that qualifies in the national committee, there's a couple of guys that might, they won't get any say in any of the things. So the next bit actually that ties into that is no one. Yes, so to Entropy 2100, the Masters is a 20-player event. So top 20 is for the invites. It is a 20-player event. We might look.
Is he referring? And you're going to talk about this, I think. He might be referring to, will it stay at 20s if 20 doesn't make it?
Well, I don't know if he means is it also part of a bigger event, i.e. is there a side event?
No,
it means like people that can't come. So if
so
people can't come, then you're about to bring that up anyway. The lower ones,
So I'll cover that in a second. That's a very, very good question. So the next bit, guys, is there will be on the 1st of June this year, so in a couple of months' time, we will go back again and look at that top 30 list of players. That top 30 will then get sent on the 1st of June. They will be sent. So this is really important. If you're in that top 50 or 60 players and you're trying to get into the top 20 or the top 30, top 20, we need you to put your email address on your profile because you will be sent a Survey Monkey on the 1st of June, if you're in the top 30, to complete. This is very critical. Basically, the Survey Monkey gives you an opportunity to vote on format. So there's things, just to mention some examples of what that often is. It might be to vote on whether it's 5 or 6 games. It might be to vote on whether it's 2,000 points, 2,200 points, 2,400 points. Is it win-loss draw? Is it 20-0? That might be part of it, and I think it probably will be.
It's an army swap.
It's going to have an army swap round.
Army swap scenarios.
I'm personally not a fan of army swap, and if I get my way, I'm only not a fan of it because I don't like people breaking my models, and I just will find it really hard not to dislike that person for eternity.
And he spent 14 months painting them, so
yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, things like that will be in the survey. So it's really important, guys, if you're planning, and I think most people generally tend to do it, but the reason we're giving it to the top 30 is that there will be events still run in June that the top 30 players might still be able to jump into the top 20. So that top 30 is effectively we're assuming that they're the most likely people to gain an entry to the Masters. Then if there's a player inside the top 20. The top 20 invites will be sent on the 1st of July. So that if you're in the top 20 on the 1st of July, congratulations. you have a golden ticket to the Masters. I think that's an achievement unto itself. You should be proud. Like that's, there's over, I think it's over, are we close to 500, over 500 now? Players in the season.
Close.
485.
Close to.
That means that you're in the top 20 players in the country out of close to 500 players. I think that's a credit, and you should be really proud of the result. But then you have an opportunity to either accept or decline the invite. If you accept the invite, congratulations. We'll see you on the 26th and
26th. Yes, 26th.
Yep, of July. If you decide that you can't make it, which is completely understandable, obviously traveling to Brisbane, then your invite will then pass to the next player. So the 21st. So
you're saying I've still got a chance.
Correct, mate. If you break enough people's arms.
I'll start sabotaging.
Starkey will go and clean their house for free for 6 months. If you can't attend, your invite then goes to the 21st player, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and onwards. So if there's 6 people, for example, that cannot attend that are in the top 20, then 21st, 25th, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 get their invites instead. And then they get the opportunity. It keeps going until we fill up all of those spots.
And you pretty much should already know if you want to go or not, because you'll have to sort that out pretty quick. Yeah.
And that's why we're announcing the date now.
Yeah.
So people know where it is. They know that, okay, am I able to go? And then they'll be able to plan accordingly. So that's why we wanted to get it out nice and early. I think next year we'll look to do it very early, probably in the first quarter of the new financial year, which is also the tournament season. Just to and I've got some ideas actually in mind for that as well. But Army lists will be due on the 18th of July. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we want to obviously check, because this is the Masters, lists will actually formally be checked. It won't just be we're going to believe new recruit if it's run through new recruit, or BCP if it's run through BCP. It will probably be new recruit once again to keep costs down, because BCP does cost money. And it also, I think we'll probably get everyone to do their list through new recruit, submit it through new recruit, just to make it seamless. And that will go to a couple of members of the committee who have yet to be nominated that are not playing, that will check those lists for us. So that is that. We will then get them out, ideally a week prior, because we want to then do a list review probably through this platform. So that is also going to be then part of it. Now, a couple of other things. We at Old World of Oz are going to be looking to really hype up some content and really give visibility to other players that perhaps they missed out and they really want to go to Masters next year. And so we're going to start doing it. We're going to actually try and organise interviews. They did this in the UK a few years ago. And so we're going to organise some group interviews, probably 3 or 4 different ones, to try and get all 20 players once they've accepted. We're going to probably do some player profiles, predictions. We might get some guys, like some guest panel members on to go like, commentators almost, and go, I think based off of the form guide, this person's my tip, and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make it really, really fun and, and interactive with the community. Masters is here. It's going to be in Brisbane. It will be on at the end of July. There will be obviously a survey again. This will all be in the event invite that I'll put out tomorrow. It will be all above board in terms of any player that is part of the committee that is organising it will not have any say in any. Like, I'll be organising with the venue, obviously making sure we have tables, making sure that we can get lunch and all that kind of stuff. But I won't be taking any part in like if I qualify as an example, if Starkey does, shoots up there, etc.
It's in my calendar. It's already in the calendar. It's been in there for a couple of months now. You got to put it in the digital calendar. Like April, Mrs. is scrolling through the calendar, and April comes up, and we talked about this in January, right? But she scrolls down to April, and she's like, "You got two-day tournaments in April." I'm like, yeah, we talked about this. You got to have it in the calendar.
It was on Christmas night. You just smashed 2 bottles of Shiraz. We talked about it.
We talked about it. Come on.
That sounds really good, man. That's like, yeah, it's going to be exciting as it comes down to crunch time. So, do you reckon? Do you think? Do you think? What's irresistible game? Irresistible force? What is it? Irresistible force? What's their like internet and all that? Right? Do you reckon we can
live stream?
Get a live stream table?
They have a live stream.
Okay.
They do have a live stream. I think we will try and get table 1 live streams. That way, that final round.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
What's really cool is their war room. You've seen it before, Starkey. Is being renovated.
Yeah.
They're getting a facelift. Yeah. So for those who don't know where Irresistible Force is, there's 2 of them. The one that we're referring to is in Tanamera, which is sort of between Brisbane and the Gold Coast, probably closer to the Gold Coast than Brisbane. So, yeah. Well, I think one thing as well, guys, is we will, anyone that qualifies that's from interstate, we will do our best to try and put up, organise accommodation with other players that are playing, for example. So, yeah, like I might be able to get a spare room passed. It just depends. I've got baby number 2 on the way, and I've got a toddler. So but I will, if I can, I will. And we'll do our best. To try and at least make it that you're basically only paying for your flight and your food while you're here. Will be the plan. There's usually a dinner on the Saturday night. Is kind of tradition. So I think it will just depend on obviously where the majority of people are staying as to where that dinner will be. But some of us, like I actually don't know, if I'm being honest, if I will be able to attend the dinner. I need, with my heavily pregnant, should be getting towards heavily pregnant better half. I'll probably race honest guys on the Saturday night. Whether I'm playing or I'm TOing it. But yeah, so Masters is here. Get excited.
That's awesome. And sorry, Andrew, we just asked that, but you just covered that just for other people who just missed that. Yes, there will be some coverage, obviously leading up, like ASB just said, but also if we can get a stream on table 1, we will try to do that as well. So yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to get the stream, and we're doing lots of coverage in the lead up. We could even start doing interviews potentially with, I don't know if it would be seen as okay to interview people like Paddy, who probably can't drop out of the top 20.
It's the road to Masters really as well. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like worst case, you get someone and they don't qualify. There's going to be people who end up not being able to accept by the time, and they might qualify. You know what I mean? So you can't.
Wonder if you can talk to old mate from Renegades. Is it that did all the battle reports, and you went to his place once for a battle report, didn't you?
Ost.
You know how maybe he would film stuff for us if he talked to him. Yeah.
He's just welcomed baby number 2. It might be a bit of a challenge for him, but definitely.
I'll rock it and I'll film some stuff. So yeah.
There you go.
I'll come up. I won't qualify, but I'll definitely come and watch.
All right.
Out in the building.
So, I didn't realize you were coming, but you'll do the job quite well.
Yeah. Look, I think it's I think we've pulled it together quite well, right? So yeah, I'm excited. It is an institution, and I think it. We obviously couldn't do it without the website. We could just be a shitty Excel file.
You've run Masters before without it, so, but it's like having the cherry on top. So hopefully it makes it easier. So we'll get some of that logistical information up here, and obviously we can pin the Masters event up on the upcoming tournaments here, and we'll put some more info on the dashboard so people, as it gets closer, they sort of know what they're up for and where it is and all that sort of stuff. So that should be good.
Yep, and I think it might even be one of those ones where we throw it open to some players that want to suggest format stuff. I mean, I think the obvious ones are: is it going to be win, loss, draw? Is it going to be a 20-0 system? Is it going to be? I would be. There probably will be some people in Australia that would vote for symmetrical terrain in an event like that. I'm not a fan of that personally, because it's also harder to organise because you've actually got to get people to get in there and measure it all out and do all that jazz. But that's obviously what those volunteer referees will be for. So it might be symmetrical terrain versus asymmetrical terrain. Points limit will be voted on. Is there going to be objectives? Is there going to be comp or no comp? Those things. And then it would probably, and then it might be, if it is comp, then it's kind of is it, what type of comp? That's going to
Going heavy Aussie compo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of discussion with the national committee that we're probably, because they've only just come in, we're probably not going to allow the Renegade factions from Squarebase this month, just because they haven't been in for the entire season.
Yeah, I'd say that. I can't wait to start playing with them, but I can understand.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's nearly, you've got 3 months left, you know what I mean? So it's not worth it. You might as well just,
So
it's lots of very different things.
Plus,
joining
3 months
of
Renegade pack. I know it's a totally different subject, but 3 months of that, maybe iterating on a couple of versions, it might be a very well accepted one once you kick into the next Masters.
Yeah. I mean, I voted against it purely because I don't want it to split the community. That's really the only thing. I think if I was to look at the actual rule set, the only thing I think that needs to probably be looked at is the Lizardmen stuff have been given probably a slightly too heavy a hand. I'm picturing some like 40 or 50 Temple Guard Slan bloody Death Stars.
But that'll line out. Who knows? Maybe Games Auction will get off their ass, and who knows? Solar Ward just said no Renegades will be there anyway. Let's have a look. You're probably right there. I didn't actually. No, there'd be Vamps, maybe Vamps.
Yeah, well, Jay Golding has already said
obviously right at the top.
Has already said that he will be coming, and I don't think he can not qualify from here. And
he's in.
So there'll be a couple, but I know that was a bit of a joke, but it is quite funny.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be great to get everyone here. Hopefully the top 20 can. There's always a couple that can't. From what our representative of the national committee over in WA said, there's about 15 guys from WA that are trying to come. So,
really?
they're right into it. Which then makes me go I would like to eventually get over to a WA GT. I reckon.
Yeah.
Look how many are in the top 50. I mean, it's a fair bit, isn't it? That's pretty good.
Yeah, they've got a great scene over there. So it'd be great to have a few guys. But it looks like a relatively, apart from representation from South Australia and Tasmania, it's every state has got at least 3 or 4 members. So
that's good.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to add?
No, I think we've covered all of it.
I think we've covered it. I think the next couple of episodes, and like you said, I think the logistics seem out of the way now. You know what I mean? Obviously, there'll be
WTC's been shelved.
So I think it'll be, we can bring a bit of fun to it too, just like I said, with the interviews and stuff like that. So and chatting, obviously stuff will come out around the composition of it and stuff. So
I reckon acceptance videos would be cool, just telling you about themselves.
We rig them. I'll be rigging.
And then
you were it's like getting the
then you could play them all consecutively, I don't know, something like that would be cool.
Maybe we could try and get some of the top 3 for the next.
Get the top 3 and then do an acceptance video for 20, because you're not going to do 20 interviews. It'd be pretty hard.
Maybe interview the top 10. The top 10 or something like that. Guys, and here's another one I was thinking of: first round pairings, rather than the traditional random first round pairings. First place 20th. Second place, 19th, and
vote on that.
We voted obviously, but I was thinking that could be kind of cool, because then it's like you get an advantage for.
You have been planning for it all year. That's
it's a little bit
season.
Like the sports do.
Plan for your rank. NBA.
That way, it's not just getting in the top 20 that matters. And again, it's an interesting one, because you could get someone that wasn't able to go to that many events. Or have that much free time, that's actually the best player in Australia that's 18th, and you just
seeded.
You finished third, but I reckon seeded.
It's an idea. I like that.
So I think that might be something that's in the Survey Monkey. I think it would also be good to share the survey with the community, so they can get some visibility over what's going to be in it. Yeah, so I think we'll probably do that in look to do that.
Well, I mean,
on
the funny
junior
thing you could do,
three.
and I don't know, maybe you alluded to this, I wasn't sure, but if you send it out to that top 30, 40, 50, they can all fill it in, and then whenever can't you just then work out who's going and then just look at their 20 results? You know what I mean? Like you could, you could almost like let all the things come in, and then whoever's actually qualified, their voice is heard. Do you know what I mean? But you're not sort
That could be.
you know.
That's a good idea.
And you get a bit of you might get a bit of a feel for where the community wants it to go, but at the end of the day, it's still the people who are going should get the actual say. But you could split
not
that out.
the top 30. Yeah, okay.
Maybe you could do top 30, but you do it a month beforehand, so you have all the statistics, and then so your crew
They're going to vote 2 months.
Get in. They have all the stats that they can make the players back up straight away. That as well.
That might actually be.
It'd be pretty time poor, like from the season finishing to.
Hopefully, most of
getting
these guys
lists
actually do
in
have their emails.
3
Like you're
weeks later.
saying, they look like they do. You can usually tell someone who, I don't know, Jason M might not. That looks like a nickname. Like, because it defaults to first name, last initial. So
Jason Mulligan, isn't it?
there's a few people. Yeah, it's Chris Penwater. He might not be signed up. There's a few that I can tell that might. And Mark Ward wasn't definitely, I don't think, and he probably still isn't because he was split across 2 people for ages until I found it. And they went, oh shit, because he wasn't even in there. You know, you jumped him up because he had 2 player profiles. So, yeah, look, we're going to have to do a bit of outreach, make sure people are at least registered on here to get contacted. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is here. Get excited, get ready. If I think as well, like go and have a look at. We'll just bring up that and show how many events we've got in the lead up to. I know that. So if you're in Queensland, so if you're in Queensland and you're wanting to qualify and you're not going to FullCon, which is a weekend after this one coming, so FullCon is sold out, unfortunately. You've got then Drunk Hammer, which is in Caboolture on the run by Nathan Goodchild end of last weekend of April.
Yeah, 26th, 27th. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I thought I was sharing my screen.
That's all right. There you go. Yeah. Why don't we do it? Can we do it state by state, actually? Why don't we do that?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's Queensland at the moment.
Yeah, so guys, if you're in Queensland and you're wanting to qualify for Masters, there's still 3 events now. Unfortunately, 2 of them are sold out, but Drunk Hammer is not. So this is a shout out for you, Goody, and your event. I think it's at 24 players currently, so it's 6 players away from getting max Masters rankings points. So if you are wanting to go and you're not signed up right now, then you've got, that's a GT. You can get 100 points for first place if that gets to 30 players. That's
and we're hoping for 50. We're pretty sure we'll get 50.
Yeah,
I reckon it will.
I reckon it's going to get somewhere between 30 and 40. I don't know if it'll get to 50 just because
I reckon it'll get 40 plus.
Both FullCon and Drunk Hammer. And you're also forgetting Easter. So because of Easter, there's like a lot of people are going to take their holidays before that, and then it's that weekend is their next weekend back at work. So they've just been away with their kids and all that kind of stuff. You've got to remember that because the Easter. But I hope he does. I think it'd be awesome. But
it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So if you're in Queensland, what about New South Wales?
They've got 1 5-dayer.
Which is Shicon, I think. Shicon's down here, and then there's a couple of old hammers. There's a bunch of these little old month.
Victoria has a 5-gamer.
Yeah,
Fest. Yeah.
Yep. Park.
And it looks like South Australia does have a 5-gamer.
It does indeed. Unfortunately won't be there.
That's a 6-rounder, Arc is. That's huge.
Yeah, Arc 6 rounds.
Yeah, not that.
And just jump to South Australia. So South Australia has
a 3-rounder and a GT walk.
Only 20 players though.
Walk on Warhammer the old
world.
20. But that might help. That's still. What will that work out as? I can't remember.
90, I think it is.
Now, if anyone actually, if you are in South Australia and you're listening to this, A Dog's Breakfast is a tournament that was run by Mark Heffernan, who is an absolute legend in the scene. This guy used to run, I think I've told you guys about the guy that used to run, he ran a 46-player tournament at his house. He had in his patio. So he's combined garage and patio. I think it was a six car garage, like roller door, then with a patio, and he cleared everything out of it and had enough tables within a couple of tables in his lounge room. And he had a 44-player event at that, and he runs that, and he's bringing it back. And a dog's breakfast used to be that you'd get to pick basically a mercenary unit to take as part on top of your army. And they do something different in each game. It's really, really cool. Very thematic. They're still competitive, but they're very thematic, and they appeal to both narrative and competitive players. So if you know that name guy, get on it. He's running it at Edwardstown, though, not his house. So it is central, which is good because he lives down south. So basically every state except for the ACT still has a 2-dayer, which is worth max points. So I think actually check going off Canberra.
No.
That's
I had a look. No.
What's happened there?
No, it is.
It's pulled in weird
day.
stuff. 34 rounds.
Yeah.
I think something's gone wrong with these.
12th and 13th. So they've got a 2-dayer as well. There you go. So realistically, that top 20 could actually almost change over. There's I reckon maybe
Could change a bit.
The top 10 are safe, but whether they finish in the top 10 places is where they seed. If we end up going with seeded pairings, is yeah. So it's everything to play for. Get the hype train. Toot toot. I'm on board.
No, still wrong. I don't know what the hell's happening with that 34 rounds, but anyway, we'll look at that later. That's a bit of a marathon effort if it's 34 rounds.
Yeah, look, guys, I think that's everything that we needed to cover. Masters is here.
Yeah,
be there or be square.
Good, a lot of information in that one, and hopefully people are excited. And yeah, we'll be watching it closely, I guess. Especially Starkey trying to get back in.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen next fortnight.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully, be in the top 20.
Cool.
Beat Angus on the top table. He'll be beaten by a dragon first time ever.
Cool. Should we wrap it up then,
Right.
guys?
Let's do it. All right, guys. Well, look,
Yeah.
on behalf
Talk
of
to you guys next time.
yeah, thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you in a month's time.
Will do.
Boys, bye.
Cheers.